just MailChimped my marketing.
You MailChimped your what?
I MailChimped my marketing with AI to create an effective marketing campaign in minutes.
No, MailChimp and Way.
Yes, MailChimp in Way. Now I can hyper-personalize my campaigns across email and SMS.
You can do all that with MailChimp?
What did I just MailChimp and say?
MailChimp your marketing with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-ons. Visit MailChimp.com.
I've got a lot of grandbabies, like a lot. And when it comes to finding a gift for each of them, it could add up. But this year, while I was making my way through Walmart, I realized I don't have to spend a lot to get the gifts they'll love.
An OPI mini mani set. I'm gonna do so much nail art.
Oh, yeah! A Lego set. My own Awala water bottle.
Ooh, and that's just half of them.
Shop great gifts they're sure to love for $25 and under at Walmart.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. There are certain things on television that they've been around so long that if you ever tried to take them off TV, there would be an uprising. There'd be an uproar, like an outrage, because they're institutions. They've been on long enough, it's like, how dare you? How dare you even think about TV without these? Things like 60 Minutes, things like professional wrestling, and Saturday Night Live. Because really, when you think about it, ask anyone who their favorite cast members are from Saturday Night Live. There's an era for everyone. It's multi-generational now. And many of those cast members have then went on to have decent film careers. Some not so much. But we're going to talk about those movies starring SNL cast alumni. And here to join me, a staple of my life, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing very well. So before we get into this, before we start talking about these movies, I'm going to ask you, what's your Saturday Night Live era?
Oh my God. I mean, I definitely grew up in the time of Steve Martin and Bill Murray and even Eddie Murphy, like the classic Saturday Night Live lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, mad respect to like the John Belushi era.
Yeah.
Even, the kind of the next generation.
Oh yeah. The
right?
Mike Myers era, the Dana Carvey era, like
even more so, like
yeah.
Kate McKinnon.
Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Yes, Phil Hartman. Miss Phil Hartman. He was so good. But yeah, like anyone who has ever watched an episode of Saturday Night Live, they have their cast, And I mean, you come in, you come out of Saturday Night Live. It's one of those things where it's the same thing with wrestling. Some people were Attitude Era fans. Some people were like original, like
The Rock.
Well, exactly. Well, that's still part of the Attitude Era, right? But some people go back to like the Hulkamaniacs era and stuff like that. Like everyone has their era of SNL. But then you turn around and you take a look at their filmography, and in some cases, great, no problem, you're all good. And in some cases, you're like, maybe you should have stayed on Saturday Night Live, or maybe you shouldn't have taken that role. Now, for the record, we're not necessarily talking about films that came from Saturday Night Live characters. We're talking about movies that just happened to star people who were cast members, not guests, but cast members on Saturday Night Live. And we're going to pick 3 movies each, a keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is one that you were great on the cast, you were great in the film. The watch, you were great in the cast, the film was okay, don't have a problem with it. And the pass was, I would change the channel. on the movie. Not necessarily the actor, but I would change the channel on the movie. Carrie, we're going to start with you. Your keep film starring an SNL alum.
You know, we could literally do series of eras, but I tried to diversify amongst the decades. And they're like in their 50th year celebrating.
Yeah, it's they've been around a while.
It's been a while. Anyway, I am definitely 1000% my absolute favorite movie growing up was Opportunity Knocks with Dana Carvey. Oh my God. This movie was like everything. His comic genius was running throughout this movie. So yeah, Opportunity Knocks.
You know what's funny? Like, I mean, the movie was okay. I mean, I wouldn't pass on that film by any stretch of the imagination. Dana Carvey had one of the more underrated stand-up specials around that time. I mean, I remember videotaping it when it was on TV and watching it again and again and again. Dana Carvey is just a genuinely funny guy. And, you know, it's kind of sad that there was such a gap after The Master of Disguise and, you know, that acting break that he took. And I've talked about The Master of Disguise on It's Not That Bad before, and I wish I didn't. But the character could have been something. But regardless of, we're not talking about The Master of Disguise. We're talking about Opportunity Knocks. But Dana Carvey really was, and I'll say this, I think Dana Carvey was the better part of Wayne and Garth.
Well, because he was playing a con man, he was really able to... He does like smoke and mirror comedy or like diversion comedy so well that to have him play as a con man was like the perfect. It was absolutely the perfect bill.
But it allowed him to be able to jump into those little characters that he would do, kind of thing. So yeah, Opportunity Knocks was actually perfectly built for Dana Carvey. And I can see why it would be your keep. And yes, we do have a copy of that film. I'm going to go maybe around that era for my SNL alum, because it's a film starring Chris Rock, but maybe not the one you're thinking about. But I know for a fact you will agree with me when I say that in my keep category is Dogma.
Ah, yes.
Chris Rock as Rufus. You got Jay and Silent Bob. You got Linda Fiorentino, and probably my favorite Linda Fiorentino film,
Alan freaking Rickman.
Alan freaking Rickman, right? And Alanis Morissette as God. Like, and of course, you've got Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. But Dogma?
And a giant rubber poop monster.
Giant rubber poop monster, yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back more times than I care to even admit. We've covered Mallrats on the show. We've covered Yoga Hosers on the show.
How is the reboot? How does that fare? That's got to be one that's a contender to talk about. It has to be, because it was really underrated. I enjoyed it.
Believe it or not, we will not be talking about the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. It sits at a 65% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Excellent. I'm happy to hear that.
But I think the thing about Dogma is that it's not that it's just funny. It is. It's a funny film. Rubber poop monster and all. And Selma Hayek. Fantastic in it. But I think it's one of Kevin Smith's most smartly written films. And because it takes everything that they're talking about, but it kind of turns it on its head in a way that clearly shows that there was research done, there was thought put in. This isn't just oh, hey, we got these characters, gonna make them do something wacky. No, there is actual thought in this. There is research. There's, for lack of a better, there's biblical references in this. Like, yes, is it on its head? Absolutely. And I'm glad we can't talk about the film on It's Not That Bad. But I will say, at 67% tomatometer, that is grossly underrated. Grossly underrated. Like, that should be a hell of a lot better than what it is. Like,
isn't it like such a classic status right now that it's almost near impossible to get a copy?
Well, I mean, the fact that there were so many protests about this film from like the religious right, but I mean, the audience, score. Sorry, the popcorn meter. Rotten Tomatoes. Why did you change the name of that? I was so used to saying the audience score, and it's taking me time to adjust to the popcorn meter of 85%. I think that's much more close to where it should be, but it's 68%. No.
You have to wonder though if the critics were maybe being unfairly critical because of the backlash, because of the popular opinion.
I get it. I do. But I mean, even in a list of films of, done by Kevin Smith, it's nowhere near as like, let's put it into perspective. Okay. At 68%, as far as the New Jersey series of films, like the ones with Jay and Silent Bob, the original Clerks sits at 90%. 90. Mallrats, 58%. It's borderline, right? Chasing Amy, 87%. Okay. Dogma, 68%. No. I think Dogma is a better film than Mallrats, definitely. I think I prefer Dogma over Clerks, the original Clerks. But then let's keep going. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And I am calling the shot right now for 2025 at 52%. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back needs to be defended. Jersey Girl, 42%. Say what you will, and we've talked about Jersey Girl on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Clerks 2, 63%. Clerks 3 also sits at 63%. But I want to put it into perspective, though. The popcorn meter, I got it right this time. The popcorn meter sits for Clerks 3 at 93%. So I don't know. I don't know if I even agree with that. And going back to Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, 67% for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. The audience score, again, 93%. I don't know if I actually agree with that.
Well, I think, yeah, because the people love Kevin Smith movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his fan base are dedicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're a Kevin Smith fan, you love all the movies because
Absolutely.
it almost like it's not even in the same world. I mean, sometimes maybe, but the characters that he's created, like even if it's Clerks, right? Where Jay and Silent Bob are not a key player, it's Dante and Randall. But if Jay and Silent Bob are involved, people are loving it.
But even to that token, and even taking a lot of the same cast and then kind of putting them in different roles, Zach and Miri Make a Porno sits at 65%. But I think Dogma is a much better film than Zach and Miri Make a Porno. But to look at the tomatometer, you'd think they were in the same ballpark. So, I mean, I don't know what the critics are thinking, but there's some Kevin Smith films that need defending, and we will defend them eventually. But I'm calling my shot for 2025. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Get me my pitchfork. I will defend that film.
Absolutely.
I just MailChimped my marketing.
You MailChimped your what?
I MailChimped my marketing with AI to create an effective marketing campaign in minutes.
No, MailChimpin' way.
Yes, MailChimpin' way. Now I can hyper-personalize my campaigns across email and SMS.
You can do all that with MailChimp?
What did I just MailChimp and say?
MailChimp your marketing with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-ons. Visit MailChimp.com.
Blinds.com is kicking off the savings early with Black Friday mega deals all month long. A Blinds.com design expert can help you make the perfect selection on your schedule. We can even handle everything from measure to your whole home installed for just one low cost. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Get up to 45% off site-wide and a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Black Friday week starting November 21st.
For my watch pick, I am going to talk about a film that we have talked about on It's Not That Bad. I've talked about it with you, actually. And I know you love this film. Starring SNL alum Kate McKinnon. We're talking Rough Night.
I love it.
I really enjoyed this film. Like when we saw the trailer for this and we realized it was basically a gender swapped Very Bad Things. And I know you love Very Bad Things. Like, dear listeners, like they're Very Bad Things qualifies for It's Not That Bad. And I'm surprised. Are you calling your shot for Very Bad Things for 2025?
That's a little too close to home. It's close to heart. I don't know. I can't get through that one without getting emotional. I love that movie.
Okay. Well, you know what then? Maybe I'm calling your shot for you.
Okay. I'm down.
Maybe we have to put that on the whiteboard. But this version of it, I mean, yes, Very Bad Things is a very black comedy kind of film. Like it's, that end scene and all that. Like it's still funny, but it's definitely a black comedy. But Rough Night kind of turns it into more of a crazy things happen kind of romp. Kate McKinnon is a blast in this film.
Oh, she's absolutely perfect.
Right?
I loved her role.
But I think it also allowed Scarlett Johansson to have fun. Like, really, we're talking about one of the best action actresses today as the Black Widow and in Lucy and in Ghost in the Shell. It's like, we have an action film. It's got a female action. Oh, Scarlett Johansson, give her a call. It's like between her and Charlize Theron. Like, if you can't get one, check on the other to make sure that they're available. But here she got to have a ton of fun. Like, it was just a good, silly, fun, comedic, bad things happen romp. And I love those films. Like, I expected the worst going into this. I thought this was going to be just a bad, sad knockoff. But instead, I think it actually took what made Very Bad Things good and turned it into a, not necessarily PG-13, but more like that AA kind of rating, like that. Yeah, it's a little more raunchy, but it's not horrible.
No, it was a lighter take on the same darkened themes of, bachelorette party, goes away on vacation, whether it's Vegas or I can't remember where the girls went.
Miami.
It was Miami,
yeah.
right? And trouble with strippers and the law and illegal substance, whether it's illegal or legal.
And cue the sad astronaut.
The poor, misguided yet loving and understanding fiance that. But it was a lighter take, almost on a linear concept.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. Like, if you watch Very Bad Things and you're like, it was okay, but they're chopping people up, but you like the concept of it, go watch Rough Night, because it's a fun romp and definitely deserved better than the critics gave it. Okay, over to you for your watch film. Excellent.
And I swear I didn't have this lined up, but I'm going with ScarJo's other half, Colin Jost.
Okay.
Because of his role in, and again, our youngest and I went on like a binge, and we almost watched this movie nightly. Tom and Jerry, the live action Tom and Jerry, and Colin Jost is he's just such a gem in this movie. He's such a doll, and you really are rooting for him, even though, you know, that darn cat. Actually, Tom,
not that darn cat though, but still.
Tom was employed by the hotel. It was actually Jerry that was causing a lot of problems. And,
right.
Anyway, in the end, all turns out as it should be. But long story short, there were elephants involved, and they trashed a beautiful hotel. And the animated bulldog, if anything, he completely stole the show.
This was one of those situations where the animation and the live action lined up so perfectly. I love Chloe Grace Moretz in this.
Yeah.
It was such a good role for her. And, you know, she's taken on some darker roles as well. I actually love her in The Peripheral. I think she's great. And of course, we are talking Hit Girl as well. But this was a fun film. And I am saddened to tell you that at a 30% tomatometer, we may find ourselves talking about this one.
Yes, and absolutely, I have my partner in crime, because that movie does need defending, and it definitely was a family favorite. So,
oh yeah, I think this is actually one of Chloe Grace Moretz's better films. And yeah, this would have been, for, you know, listeners who tuned into our What's Old is New again, I mean, this was a bit of an older property that really got a blast of life, and it worked. I don't know why critics crap on, you know, classic cartoon type characters finally getting that big screen treatment. Like critics sucked when it came to like the Garfield movie and
the Smurf movies.
Yeah,
qualify.
Yeah, like what the hell were you expecting? It's a family friendly property and gets the big screen treatment. Like, did someone hurt the critics as a child? Because I think they did.
Not only that, but it was well done.
Yes.
Like, it modernized. And, you know, like the Cat and the Rat kind of animosity that they had going, but it made it modern. I mean, like, the hotel hired a cat. You know, they gave him a little suit jacket and everything. Like, come on. How do you not appreciate that that modernization and just the acceptance of animation in real life?
I remember when Lau was on the show and we were talking about Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, which, again, I don't know what the critics are thinking about the Scooby-Doo films, because like those live action ones are fun as hell. But the thing about Tom and Jerry, the film, is that much like those Scooby-Doo films, if you grew up watching Tom and Jerry, the cartoons, you kind of got the same story. Like, they were treated like they were actual characters that could be hired for a job to do something like that. Like, this felt like it could have been an animated film. This felt like it could have been a Saturday morning cartoon. Just happens to have live actors in it. So I don't know why critics always constantly crap on family-friendly films based on classic cartoon characters. Garfield, Smurfs, this, Scooby-Doo. I think Woody Woodpecker also qualifies as well. Like,
oh, that's right, it does.
Yeah, like
he goes to camp.
I do not understand why the critics feel the need to punch down. Like, this is a family-friendly film. Like, and I know, and I say this as a parent, when it comes to like a movie like this comes out, the kids want to watch it. We're like, yeah. At no point is anyone sitting there going, yes, but the critics have kind of poo-pooed upon Garfield. We should not go and watch it. No, you critics.
But I wonder if that's actually hurting the box office.
I don't think so.
In some cases.
Like, because in a movie, in a situation like this, these kind of films are critic proof because it doesn't matter what a critic says. The only thing that really hurt the box office of this is because there was no box office because it was released in 2021, right? Like, this is like peak movie theaters are closed pandemic era stuff. And really, like, when you go 10 years further down the road and hopefully the box office is kind of come back to what they were pre-pandemic, right? I mean, we're starting to feel that way now a little bit. We're starting to see those bigger numbers, even though some movies and types of movies that were usually box office gold, like superhero films, are taking a hit, right? Deadpool and Wolverine, you knew was going to make money. And yes, Venom Last Dance debuted at number 1, but not with the kind of, at least domestic take that they were hoping for. But a lot of superhero films that used to like really bring up the box office just aren't bringing in the numbers anymore. Part of it is because everything costs too much these days. And it's not like the cost of movie tickets have gone way up kind of thing, but when you're paying much more for groceries and gas and the like, you have to sit there and go, well, what gets cut? Do we bring a family to, that's the problem. Do you bring a family to the theater? Because that costs a lot of money because you got to factor in the popcorn and the drinks and all that, because you try telling your kids that you're not having popcorn. It costs money. You know, I get it. Sometimes you have to, but it costs a lot to bring a family to the theater. We still do it because we grew up going to the movie theaters. For us, that was a thing. And I know me, I don't want our kids to miss out on that. So that's a fun family outing. You know, maybe you pull back on other things. But yeah, I don't know why critics constantly crap on these kind of movies. But the other thing too is it doesn't matter. They're critic proof. They're for the kids, not the critics. All right, back to you for your past film.
All I can say is the Ding Dong song. Will Ferrell in Eurovision.
You play Ya Ya Ding Dong. Play Ya Ya Ding Dong. Ya Ya Ding Dong. Ding Dong.
I'm so sorry, but you know what? I'm sorry I'm not sorry. I can't believe I endured this movie at least once in my life, and I still hold the scars of the trauma. I like Will Ferrell. I'm not crapping on the actor or the person, but did this movie really need to be made? I mean, it was bad. Like, there was nothing good about it. It was really bad. Really, really bad.
Okay, so maybe I'm kind of in the opposite side of things here because I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell fan when it comes to movies that star him.
Anchorman.
Oh, no. I said not the biggest, but there are some films with, like, give me Semi-Pro? Absolutely, right? Yes, Anchorman for sure. And I didn't mind this. And maybe it's because it took place in the Eurovision contest, which I think the thing that doesn't necessarily connect with the North American audience is that the Eurovision Song Contest is absolutely massive everywhere but here. Everywhere but here, right? And the thing is, probably the biggest acts that came out of the Eurovision Song Contest are the ones that were completely and utterly f***ed up. Like, when you sit there and you watch it and go, oh my God, who let you on the stage? Why? And it's almost become like, exactly how obscenely over the top can these acts be? And I think the Eurovision, the story of Fire Saga, kind of played on that a little bit. But I thought Rachel McAdams was good in it. I can't remember the name of the singer who did the song Huskivik. But holy crap, that was the voice for the singer for that. Wow. Like, just wow. I know it wasn't Rachel McAdams singing. I know. But holy crap. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. but I didn't mind the film. And I mean, am I going to sit there, and say, let's have a nice romantic evening at home and put on Eurovision, bring on the Fire Saga? But you're safe though, because believe it or not, this film doesn't qualify for It's Not That Bad at a 64% Rotten Tomatoes score.
I'm actually grateful so I don't have to watch it again.
I mean, I don't know what you have against it, but come on, Pierce Brosnan.
It was just annoying. Like, Will Ferrell was annoying.
I find it fascinating that you find him annoying in this one. I find him annoying in most films he's in, and I didn't mind this one. I can now hear it now. Like, keep watch past the movies of Will Ferrell. I would suffer through that one, kind of like I suffered through the Adam Sandler one.
In my mind, it was in line with Borat. Like, how annoying and just incredibly like it was a slog to watch it.
Maybe it's because I actually didn't mind the songs in it. I found the soundtrack to it quite good. And again, maybe it's one of those things where it played to what I enjoyed, as opposed, like, obviously Anchorman is a classic. Anchorman 2, definitely not so much, right? Semi-Pro, it's definitely his best sports film. And I know people right now are listening going, Talladega Nights. No, Semi-Pro. It had the better ensemble cast, but that's just me. I didn't mind this.
You know what? I liked him in Elf. I like Elf.
Oh, okay. Elf is definitely one of those, like, more family friendly kind of, it's almost a Christmas staple unto itself. And I know it gets played on most TV stations every Christmas season, and we're leaning into that soon enough. So it's almost Elf season. Yeah.
Not yet, friends. Not until at least November 12th.
Right. And remember, it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from Nakatomi Plaza.
That's right.
That's right. All right. I might get a little triggered on this one for my past film. And it's actually your fault. It is absolutely your fault that
it's me. I'm the problem.
That's
Hi.
right. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Carrie. It's me.
Yeah. Because
what did I do to you?
Oh, let me
show me on the doll.
No. I'm not going to show you
where
on the
I
doll
hurt you.
where you hurt me. I'm going to show you in the Blockbuster video store where you hurt me. Because, dear listeners, we grew up in the age of Blockbuster video, and like as long as we possibly could, and we were those people who would go to the Blockbuster and do 7 movies for 7 days, and every now and then, Carrie would pick a film off the shelf.
I know where this is going.
And we would watch it. And sometimes it was good. And sometimes there was a film where I had to sit there and go, you're never allowed to pick a film ever again. One time, she picked a film starring Maya Rudolph called Away We Go. We never made it to the end of the film. Normally it's like because Carrie falls asleep, and if you follow this show, you know about the soul plane incident. But this is one where we kind of both looked at each other and said, we're out. We're out. And the funny thing is, the film is actually based, or it's written by Dave Eggers. And we've talked about Dave Eggers before because it was his book that was the basis for the movie The Circle, which starred Tom Hanks, Emma Watson, and Karen Gillan and John Boyega. But he wrote this film, and I can safely say I never watched the full movie, and I'm never going to try to watch the full movie, and you couldn't pay me to watch the full movie because it was boring as hell. And again, I say that saying that I'm not saying Maya Rudolph was bad in it. The movie was just bad and completely forgettable. And just and dear listeners, if you are now sitting there going, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to send these people an email and we're going to say, well, it'd be really great if you could do an episode on Away We Go. The movie doesn't qualify. 67% tomatometer. We don't have to talk about it. Not going to happen.
That was very Jacoby Shattuck of you. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, not going to happen at all. Thank God. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are movies from this episode. We're going to defend the hell out of Tom and Jerry. We're going to defend the hell out of basically like good movies. And we defended the hell out of Rough Night for sure, but we don't have to talk about Away We Go because we can't. And no amount of you guys going over to Rotten Tomatoes and downvoting that because you're not critics. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Because there's not many movies that I would sit there and I would dread watching. I would dread going back and watching this because I was bored. And it's sad because, I mean, I read The Circle and I read The Every, and I think Dave Eggers is a good writer. This did not, to put it as nicely as possible, this film did not move the dial at all for me. And I am very, very happy that we don't have to talk about it on It's Not That Bad. I don't know if I could defend it. And at 74% popcorn meter.
Maybe we missed something.
Maybe we did. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the problem, right? So
yeah, but I agreed with you.
Yeah, and that's the beauty part about movies. They are entirely subjective. So if you're listening to this podcast and you sit there and go, I can't believe you're talking about that movie so badly. Oh, you guys are supposed to be nice. Well, we are nice. So I'm gonna follow this up with this invitation to you, our dear listeners. If you've seen Away We Go and you liked it, please drop us a line on social media at Not That Badcast and let me know what it is we missed. Because I want to approach this with an open mind. I'm curious, if you liked this film, what did you like about it? I want to know. I am truly curious because for the life of me, I don't understand how this doesn't qualify. And I'm not saying it was poorly made. I just found it boring. All right, Carrie, we have come to the end of our list. So I've diatribed a little bit. So remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and pass films are starring SNL alumni.
I am keeping Dana Carvey's Opportunity Knocks. I am watching Colin Jost's Tom and Jerry live action movie, and I am passing indefinitely on Eurovision. Sorry, Will Ferrell.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I am watching Dogma starring Chris Rock. I am watching Rough Night starring Kate McKinnon, and I am passing on Away We Go starring Maya Rudolph, but I am keeping an open mind if our listeners want to chime in and let me know what they thought of the film and kind of enlighten me because I'm not didactic. I don't have a closed mind. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And dear listeners, you guys know the drill. While you're telling me what you thought about Away We Go, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, drop me an email telling me all the things that you liked about Away We Go. But we do want to hear from you guys. This show is for you as much as it is for us. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. And away we go.